I want to bring in a diplomat as we talk about this story. You know, there's the Ukraine piece of this. You had Donald Trump saying now he will actually release notes that his staff took of his call with the president of Ukraine. He hasn't done it yet. It comes after Trump spent several days completely dancing around the issue, including whether he abused taxpayer funds in this plot to get his rival investigated.
How do you explain delaying military aid given this whistleblower complaint?
I didn't delay anything. We paid the military aid to the best of my knowledge.
We spend so much money not only to Ukraine but to other places. And why isn't Germany spending more money? Why isn't France? Why aren't other countries in Europe helping Ukraine more? Why is it always the United States? As far as withholding funds, those funds were paid. They were fully paid. But my complaint has always been, and I'd withhold again, and I'll continue to withhold until such time as Europe and other nations contribute to Ukraine, because they're not doing it. It's the United States.
Trump bobbing and weaving while his personal attorney Rudy Giuliani admits that there was a political process to pressure Ukraine for these benefits, and he's claiming it was at the request of the State Department.
The State Department called me and said, would I take a call from Mr. Yermak, who's number 2 or 3 to the president-elect, now the president. I was put together with Mr. Yermak. I talked to him. He gave me enormously important facts. I conveyed them all to the State Department. Unlike the media lies, fake news, I wasn't operating on my own. I was operating at the request of the State Department.
I'm joined now by Michael McFaul, former U.S. ambassador to Russia. Good evening. So many aspects of this we've been covering. Something we haven't gotten to yet is the president now saying he will release the Ukrainian call notes tomorrow, something that you've said, notwithstanding your criticism of Trump, you have concerns about that becoming a precedent. Your view of that and the wider issues tonight.
Yeah, Ari, I'm 100% against that. I was an ambassador in Moscow, but I also worked 3 years at the National Security Council with President Obama. I was on lots of calls. I read lots of transcripts of other calls. And it's the President of the United States, a Democrat, Republican, needs to be able to conduct diplomacy without having to release transcripts of that. And if we do this, it means that every prime minister and president that talks to either President Trump or the future will now self-censor themselves. So I'm against it on that grounds, but I'm especially against it because it's a diversionary tactic. We need to know what is in the complaint from the whistleblower.
Right.
And I think it is naive. I think it's way too premature to assume that everything that whistleblower did and was worried about was just this one phone call. I have my
your view.
I mean, maybe
your
it
view
is, but
is,
I think it's wrong.
Your view is that someone that high up in the U.S. government isn't risking everything, not only their career, but let's be honest, a climate, as we pointed out in the show, where they've investigated the investigators. Right? Andrew McCabe, the former FBI acting director, says that they tried to get a grand jury to indict him. They haven't fully denied that, so we're in a holding pattern. That in that environment, someone took that risk over just a few notes from one call. You think they have a bigger plot, and that's why that whistleblower needs to face Congress?
Well, I don't know. I want to be clear what I know and what I don't know. But I do know one thing. It's bad to release transcripts of presidential calls. That's a bad precedent. And it is the law to release the whistleblower complaint to the U.S. Congress. It's not a should. It is the law. The second point, though, that you make is also really important. Again, I'm not an intelligence officer, but I worked for 5 years with many people in the intelligence community. These are patriots. These are hardcore patriots. You do not take this action lightly. This is, I think you're right. It's likely career ending for whoever this person is. And so just for me to think that this is based on one phone call, I've just got to believe there's more to this story.
Which I think,
and we need to have the whole story.
You're doing analysis based on being in these rooms, which most of us have not been in. You're not reporting out new information in the sense of what is known. But I think it's very telling, just as a way to help us understand. And also, the whistleblower complaint is what the administration is hiding, even violating the law. The notes to the call is not what they're hiding. It's what President's tweeting about. You know, I've been alive long enough in the Trump era to know the stuff he's tweeting about is more in his interest, and the stuff they're hiding, it might be the facts that Congress should look at without prejudging what's in there. Ambassador, stay with me. Richard, I want to read to you, when you think about the congressional interplay here, what we're seeing now, even again, as I mentioned this hour, the breaking news coming fast and furious. Chairman Schiff now putting out this news statement, posting it online as folks do to Twitter. It's bad enough Trump sought help from a foreign power in the last election. Worse still, he obstructed the investigation. Now he's admitting to using his office to coerce another country to interfere in 2020. I fully support the impeachment inquiry. Richard, your view of this as it relates to where that inquiry goes?
Well, I think Ambassador McFaul has put his finger right on it. We need to see the report from the whistleblower. At great risk, as has been said here, this individual, who is no doubt a senior person who has served in different administrations, has taken the responsibility of analyzing what went on in that call and perhaps other things that are included in the report, and decided that it must be revealed pursuant to the law. And now we have unanimity in the Senate. Let's take a look at it, and then we'll be able to determine how serious this is in consideration of the cumulative effect of what has gone before this by this president.
As we draw to the close of a very busy hour, I want to do something we sometimes do on big nights, which is a bit of a factual lightning round. And I want to ask each of you in a single sentence to wrap it up for us and reflect on what did Speaker Pelosi do or accomplish tonight. For viewers joining us, of course, the Speaker came out and for the first time addressed the nation and said she is backing an impeachment inquiry into the sitting president, and that has skyrocketed the number of Democrats who now support that inquiry. They are within 35 votes of having a standing majority to impeach the president should they decide to do that. Let's go around with a sentence each. Michelle, what did the Speaker do tonight?
Well, I think she finally held him accountable. I mean, he's been unleashed since the end of the Mueller investigation. If nothing else, the fact of this investigation could potentially curtail his worst instincts.
Going around the panel, Daniela?
I agree. I think she started the accountability clock. I think also she has started to really unite her caucus around this.
David?
With the addition of a new scandal, she has finally made it a priority of the Democrats in Congress to tell the story of Trump's multiple corruptions.
Ambassador McFaul?
Well, it's a necessary action to preserve our democracy, but it's also a sad day. I agree with Speaker Pelosi. This is not an exciting day for me. This is a sad day and a sad moment in American history.
Richard?
Speaker Pelosi has taken an important step in alerting the country and then alerting her caucus to the fact that she has now put her standing behind a full investigation that could lead to the impeachment of the president.
I want to give a special thanks to each of the panelists you see on your screen. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.